Yeah, I told him for a rematch online, and I said 100% I'm down. But if you miss weight by even point one, then I take 100% here for, you know.
So, guys, obviously we got Josh Hill joining us again, man. Thanks for coming on the show. Obviously you were in action about a month back, man. You have about a few weeks to sort of decompress. How are you feeling right now?
I feel good, better now. I've been dealing with a knee injury for the last two fights. It's been just a pain in the ass, but it's kind of slowed down a little bit now and settled. So that's just got back to training actually today. So feel better.
Oh, nice. You don't think is it going to require treatment or anything specific, or you think just some rest will have it good to go?
No, man, I'm just getting old. My body, you
Fair
know.
enough.
Just no, I got like a just my cartilage in my one knee is just like torn up and it keeps swelling up on me. But I've been getting some treatment on it. It's been helping a bit. So yeah, it's getting better.
Nice, man. So obviously, we saw you in action about a month back, right? You took on Cass Bell, you picked up the win. As far as like competition and all that, are you sort of looking to take some time off, enjoy yourself, enjoy some time with the family? Are you looking to get back in there anytime soon? Like what's the approach for you right now, man?
I would like to get two more fights this year, if
Really?
possible.
Oh,
Yeah. I want to get as many in as I can. I would like to fight ideally like the start of summer, like July, something like that. Would be cool. And then again, the last quarter of the year. I know Bellator is going to Ireland, and I would love to get on that card, but it's not
yeah.
till September. So I don't really want to wait that long. But if I could get one, and if I did that one in September, then maybe again in December, that'd be cool. But yeah, two more before the end of the year would be great.
For sure. So you're trying to stay busy this year. That's good to hear, man. Obviously, if anyone's a fan of yours, obviously the more we see, the better. So no complaints here. We saw you in action again about a month back. You took on Cass Bell, picked up the victory. Not to reiterate it, but can you give us your thoughts on the victory, man? Like what do you make of the fight as we look back, right? We're not like in the heat of a press conference, right? You've had some time to sort of digest it, I would imagine. What are your thoughts?
Well, it was a shit show, man, because he showed up 9 pounds overweight, and the fight was like almost a no go from the get go. And then they just said to me, like, listen, he's way over, he's a weight class over. Um, the only way that
Literally.
we can make this fight happen is if we just move the whole, yeah, we can move the whole fight to featherweight instead of bantamweight. And, I was like 135 and a half. And so I was like, I thought about it. I'm like, fuck, I mean, like, he's going to be way bigger, but so he just said, I negotiated, getting more of his purse than the regular 20% just because of how big the miss was. So we did that, and then yeah, I guess in California, you have to be within 9 pounds, or that they won't let the fight happen. So he weighed in at 45.2 or something like that. And so they're like, hey, you got to like chug some water or something. You got to put some weight on. So I went and just chugged a whole Pedialyte and ate it like an orange. And I jumped on the scale and I was 36.6. So I was like just within the limit to make it happen. So the fight itself, though, man, it wasn't a good one. It wasn't. I'm not happy with the performance at all. I After the first round, I knew he'd be bigger and whatnot, and he was enormous in the cage, a lot bigger than I thought he'd be. Um, yeah, but yeah, my arms were just so gassed after the first. There was a lot of wrestling, a lot of him just like carrying his weight on my arms with my underhooks, and yeah, after that, I just couldn't throw any punches. It just felt like I felt fatigued. And yeah, I gutted it out, got the win. It was a split, like it was a close fight, and I think like skill for skill set, I should be pretty dominant. I think in that fight, I should have beat him. I shouldn't have been that close. But it was weird circumstances. I got the win. I'll put it past now and kind of carry on. But yeah, it was a weird one.
Right from the first glove touch in that opening round, the size difference was obviously noticeable. Have you ever
Yeah.
faced anybody even remotely that off in weight?
No, man, no. Scoggins, I fought Scoggins two fights ago before Cass, and he missed weight by 4 pounds. But he wasn't nearly as big.
And I'm sure you thought that was a lot at the time, right?
Yeah, I thought that was a lot, man. Like, oh, 4 pounds, way off. And then this guy comes in at 8 or 9. Yeah. So yeah, he was definitely the biggest guy I've ever fought in the cage for sure.
You took him down, which the weight discrepancy would indicate that's obviously not an easy thing to do, right? Do you train with bigger guys and do you drill stuff like that to, in the instance that something like that were to happen, which it did for you?
Yeah, I train with bigger guys. I try to stick around guys my weight class for sure. But yeah, I
Yeah.
train with 25ers, 35ers, 45ers, occasionally some 55ers. But uh, but yeah, I do most of my harder stuff with guys closer to my size. But yeah, I training with some bigger guys in this case definitely helped. But yeah, it was still taxing, and I guess that's why they have weight classes. Just it was harder than I thought it would be. Yeah, but we got it done.
Yeah. And
And if
besides
I was,
that,
if I was, if I, like I said after the fight, like if I was 26 years old, I probably would have just said no and took the show money and waited for the next one. But I'm 36. I don't want to sit in the sidelines, and I haven't fought since August of last year. And I was like, I got to get active. So probably the main reason I took it.
so is that the mentality? Is that you're 36, you don't know how much time you have left, you're trying to get them as many in as you can now. That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, like you never know like what happens if get an injury or something like that. The older you get,
Sure.
the more injuries are more common. So, yeah, I want to enjoy this next few years and just get as many as I can, build a bank account, and just have fun with it while I can. Because like I said, I've been doing this for like 14 years now, right? So
Yeah.
I've been doing it a long time, right? So I just want to maximize the last few years of it.
Right. And besides the takedown that I had just brought up, it was pretty much a stand-up fight, the whole way through. Maybe I think at the end you also got a takedown, right? Is that what you anticipated when you were, I guess researching him, studying him, preparing for the fight? Did you think it was going to go down that way or similar to that?
Yeah, I thought he was going to try to take me down more so, to be
Okay.
honest. Which it never really came. But yeah, I felt that I would be the faster guy, and I think the more technical guy. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of figured it going that way, but like I said, after the first round, I just didn't have anything in the gas tank. My arms and shoulders were just gas, and I just felt like shit. So I envisioned a lot flashier, nicer looking stand up and a little more action. There was I think it was the second round where there's a lot of like wrestling and like a lot of clinch work, and that was
Yeah.
gas and tiring me out too. So yeah, I envisioned a fight differently, 100%. But I think the takedowns it was actually kind of what won me the fight, to be honest.
Sure. I mean, the takedowns were the only two in the fight, right? If I'm not mistaken. So they were definitely pretty critical ones, right?
Right, for sure.
Yeah, and obviously, you spoke about that there was a difference in there, not from what we see, just looking, visually at the fight, the size difference, but from what you felt in there, what was it that stood out so much? Was it, when you guys clinched each other, was it his, I guess his strength that he had? Was it the pop in his shots, or what? I guess it was maybe the whole thing. What was it?
It just yeah, just carrying that weight, like when I had like underhooks and just him like
Okay,
kind of like using it and just kind of hanging off me. I think that really really taxed me. And like usually when we're on the wall, like I can pummel in and kind of move guys pretty handily, and he was just so much harder, a lot more effort to move.
yeah,
And as far as the kicks, like I didn't really get hit with much in the whole fight. It just I felt like the weight of the kicks a lot more. You know what I mean? I block them, but like there wasn't like a lot of snap and pop to them, but just the weight behind it. You can just tell there was a lot more there.
yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, that definitely doesn't surprise me. Given the size discrepancy, and any surprises in there, obviously besides the missing of the weight. Or let me ask you a better question: when something like that happens, are you anticipating any surprises in there, or are you thinking to yourself like, I mean, if this already happened, I'm just going in there to fight and we'll see what happens.
No, after we agreed, I was just like, he's gonna be big, obviously.
So that was
I
you're already
didn't.
starting to anticipate that in your mind that this was going to be a fight where I could be in a real mismatch here.
Yeah, yeah, but I knew I'd given up the size for sure, 100%. Even before the weight miss, I knew he was gonna be bigger. I just thought like I was the more I still do. The more technical guy, the more skilled guy, faster guy, more athletic guy. And yeah, I thought, and I still think so. I know he's calling for like a rematch with me. And I'm down. You know what I mean? I said to him online, I said, sure. But if you miss weight by even
Can
point
you repeat
one,
that, Josh? We lost you there for a second. You said he was calling for a rematch with you.
oh,
Sorry about that.
yeah, calling for a rematch online. And I said, 100% I'm down. But if you miss weight by even point one, then I take 100% here for, you know?
That's
So
funny. Yeah.
if he can make weight and he agrees to it, then I'm game for sure. Because I know I can beat him, a lot better than I did.
Yeah, definitely. Is there anything in your mind that I guess a thought in your mind of that wouldn't be a bad thing? Maybe I could put this whole thing to rest.
A lot of
Obviously, it
people,
was a close fight. Maybe there's some people that didn't think you win. There's going to be people that thought you won, of course. But for the people that didn't think you win, is there anything to that, or do you just move on to the next one?
I mean, a lot of people are just like telling me like, just move on, bro. It's like he fucked up. Like it was on him. He lost the decision. So just he took his money and leave in the past. And I get that for sure. But like me as a competitor, I know I could have showed so much better in that fight. And I kind of want to I wouldn't mind putting another stamp on it to solidify, like, it shouldn't have been that close. I should have been either finished him or dominant fashion decision.
Yeah, I can respect that, man, 100%. What was going through your head as they were announcing the decision, right? Whether you think you won or not, close fights, you never know what's going to happen, what the judges are thinking. What was going through your head?
Yeah, I was nervous for sure, just because it was in San Jose and he's from that area, you know, and he had a bigger crowd there, and I was the heel coming in, so it's like you never know how the crowd reactions when their guy throws something, even if it doesn't land. Like, they yell and scream,
Sure.
much more, and that could sway the judges too. It's like you never know, right? So, I thought I did enough in rounds 1 and 3 just to steal it. But I wasn't sure. I was definitely nervous. I was like, fuck, I hope they don't take this one from me.
Yeah, 100%. And I also mentioned that you said you weren't crazy about the performance, right? Is it nice to be able to have things to correct, but also win, right? Because a lot of times when you got a lot of things to correct, it's you get the other end of the result, right? Is it nice to get the win, but also, be able to build on some stuff?
For sure, man. I was hard on myself like after the fight, and I was just like pissed at my performance, pissed that it was that close. But I had people around me reminding me that, like, it could have been a lot worse. You could have lost, you know what I mean, and not got your win money, and another loss on your record. And so it's like, I got it done. I was able to. It wasn't a pretty one. It wasn't like an exciting highlight reel or flashy fight or anything like that. But I did enough to get the win under difficult circumstances, caused by him. And so I got to be happy with that. But yeah, there's always shit for me to improve on, um, always. And I think if when you stop trying to improve on it, that's when the game passes you by. So I always keep that in my mind. I'm always working.
Yeah, I think it was Masvidal that brought it up. I think I saw a recent interview where I think he was on Joe Rogan actually. He said that like, the moment you feel like you've learned everything, that's when you're screwed, right? You got that's
Yeah,
so that's
100%.
definitely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think there's some truth to that. I mean, and there's another one that says like, like the best knowledge is to know that you don't know everything or something like that, right? So there's always something to build on. I guess that's the moral of the story here.
Always, man. This game is so intricate, and there's new techniques every week. You know what I mean? There's new,
Yeah, literally, right?
yeah. So and you just kind of got to be um kind of like adding more things to your arsenal every single time. And if you're the same fighter every single time in the cage, people are going to figure out pretty quick, right? So you're always trying to like add more shit, to surprise people.
Definitely. And since well, I guess I got to ask you the question, the aforementioned question of what you want next, but at least we're not, seconds out after the fight. So I guess it's maybe had some time to sort of think about it a little bit. But in your mind, all seriousness, like what would be nice for a next fight? What would you want next?
As far as who?
No, just like in terms of like what direction do you think? Maybe just to get another victory under your belt, pick up more momentum. Did you want to get in there with like anybody in the rankings, like from 10 to 6, something like that? Like, what are you looking at in your mind, of course, because we can't control outcomes of everything, right?
Right. Yeah. I'd like to just get back in there and get another win, keep the momentum going, like just like you said,
Yeah.
kind of build back to that, and then um, then that'd be 2 wins in a row, and then I can take on somebody in that top echelon again, like I have before, and try to work myself back into the top of the mix. That division, our division is stacked, man. Like it's
Definitely.
crazy. Like I think it's the best division in MMA right now, and I think it's probably the best division of Bellator, in my opinion. I'm biased, obviously, but it's
Sure.
yeah, there's so many guys, dude. I would love to, I'm just trying to think of like Gallagher would be a great one.
Yeah.
He's a big name. And so maybe that one could be a
Got Bates,
possibility.
Barzola, Johnsy as well. And talking about ranked guys down the line, maybe would you want to get in there with any of those guys as well? Not now, of course. Baby steps, right? We're with progress here, but down the line, is there anybody that interests you out of those guys?
Yeah, John's one would be great. I like that one. Yeah, that'd be a cool one. Bates, he's like an up and comer, like undefeated. And you always want to beat an undefeated guy. You always want to be like the
Definitely.
first guy to take that O. So yeah, he's another guy. He's good. Yeah, he looks good. So I think he's like 7-0, maybe 8-0, something like that. So that'd be a good one, man. I like that.
Now, I'm actually interested in asking you this question. I want to get your thoughts on this. Obviously in MMA, we don't have weight classes every 5 pounds, right? It's not, or at least not. I don't know about other promotions or all promotions, but in Bellator, let's just say it's not. That's not the case, right? I mean, it's not. It's not boxing. How do you feel at bantamweight? Do you feel like you're the perfect frame? Your body's a perfect frame for the weight class? Do you feel like small? Do you feel bigger? Like, how do you feel at the weight?
I used to feel like I was a good sized bantamweight back when I started years and years ago. But now, man, I feel I'm a small bantamweight.
Oh, so you feel
Um,
you gotten smaller?
wow, I think just guys have gotten bigger.
Okay.
You know,
Because I was
um,
gonna say, usually as you age, you sort of gain weight, right? Not lose it. So that's why I was curious.
that's usually, but I don't know, I'm an odd case where it's like I thought about going on a flyweight. Just because I'd make bantamweight pretty easy, man. It's not a hard cut. Like some guys walk around like I think the most I've ever weighed in my life was 157, and that's when I had like a surgery and I wasn't able to train. I just kind of like sitting around but you usually walk around at like 150-ish around there. So I'm not a huge bantamweight. There's guys that at 35 walking around at 170 now. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually thought it. I talked to my manager. I'm like, is Bellator? I thought they were gonna like open a flyweight division. Because I know they're having Horiguchi and Borg fight at flyweight. So I just meant I'm like,
Really?
are they?
I didn't even
Yeah,
notice that.
yeah. And he said it's a one-off. I don't know why they're doing it at flyweight, but they are. But that I thought about it. If there was a 130, that would be like perfect for me. Because
Yeah.
that last 4 pounds would definitely suck. But I know I could do 130, no problem. So, but for now, bantamweight is good. I'm trying to like maybe put on some size a little bit, put on some muscle, um, just to be a little bit bigger in the cage.
So the focus is just completely on bantamweight, right? You're not even thinking about any of that. I mean, you can think about it, right? There's no weight class, so it's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Unless
Oh,
they offer me a fight at flyweight, then maybe it's possible. But yeah, right now it's just probably put on size and stay where I'm at.
definitely. And I think I was gonna ask you this, but I just came up to my head. I think did I see that it was Pitbull's fighting Pettis now that got announced?
Right.
What do you
Yeah,
think
dude.
about
Yeah.
that?
It's interesting, man. That's a good fight. Pettis being off for so long, from his surgery, and then a Pitbull dropping for the first time at bantamweight. Like he's a guy that's fought at 55 and
That
45. So
surprised me. I'm not gonna lie, because it's like if you're fighting at 55 recently, like you're now a
yeah.
bantamweight now. Jesus,
Well, he's very short. He's only
he's
about my
small.
height.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he's thick. He's really really thick. So we'll see how that affects him at flyweight or at bantamweight. See how he looks. But that's an intriguing fight, and it adds a lot to the mix of bantamweight. That's already crazy. You
definitely.
know, and you got like Pettis and Pitbull, and then you have the winner of Stouts and Patchy Mix.
Yep.
So yeah, dude, it's like I said, it's a stacked division, and he just adds more to the mix.
Yeah, I feel like we can talk about that division forever, right? There's just so much to talk about.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you about BTC fight promotions, right? I think I'm not sure if we talked about this the last time. I really don't remember, but have you been enjoying it? How's it been going for you?
Yeah, no, I enjoy it. I love the people there are great, and I like working with them. I love doing the commentary for them, and I love them. They give a lot of my guys and the guys I train with, fights and a platform to build their careers in the earlier stages. And yeah, man, it's great for sure.
Does it feel good to, have something that could potentially be like, a bridge for you as you move out from MMA in terms of like, a passion, a job?
Yeah, I would love it. I would love
Or
it.
I don't even know if you're thinking about it that way. I'm just assuming.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's, they only do like 4 or 5 shows a year, right? So it's like, but if I could do that
Yeah,
as a
exactly.
living, that would be great, for sure. It's the best seat in the house. You get to call fights and study fighters and talk about what they're doing in there. And yeah, man, I love it.
Does it feel good, to sort of do your part as a fellow Canadian, helping out mixed martial arts shows in Canada? Does it, or is it just you're just doing it because you love MMA? Because it doesn't have to really be that way, but maybe it does feel good to help out your country, right? In terms of the MMA scene a little bit. Do what you can.
Yeah, yeah. For the longest, I remember when I started, it was still illegal in Ontario, right? So we had to do,
Exactly. That's what I was thinking too.
right? Yeah, my first, I don't know how many fights were all in Quebec. So we had to drive out there every time in Montreal and Gatineau, and so yeah, to have them here now, and having and it's BTC is great, but it's also the other shows too that are popping up. So there's become a lot more platforms for the guys to fight in Ontario. So that's good. Anytime you have more opportunities to get in there and mix it up, then it's way better for the fighters to grow.
Yeah, man, that sounds interesting, man. I'm looking forward to seeing how that develops, progresses. What are you enjoying some time outside? Let me guess, you at the park with your daughter or something?
No, I'm in the backyard. I'm just getting all the yard.
Oh,
Like I just
okay.
put the trampoline up today for the kids.
Okay.
Just kind of cleaning everything up and starting to put all my shit together out here.
Just dad stuff, right?
That stuff, man. Right now, yep, that's
Yeah.
it. Basically, that old guy's sitting out back now. We got a spring cleaning, all that shit.
Yeah, man. Listen, we're gonna leave you to that. Thanks for coming on the show, and we appreciate the time.